This video gonna be about George Michael and what I remember 35 years ago when he spoke out against Sony Music from the UK. One of my favorite artists of the 80s. You know, the Wham era to the solo era, the Faith run, what he did. He was in that stratosphere for a while with Michael Jackson, with Prince, with Whitney Houston, with Lionel Richie, with Janet Jackson. That elusive pop stratosphere where you sold records and you're a big time international artist. And if you want to throw Springsteen and U2 in there, you can. But I'm just naming the ones that, were the big. But anyway, what tripped me out is thinking that a white male artist from the UK spoke out about the industry being a plantation. Let that sink in for a moment because the industry is geared towards white male artists. And if you did black pop based music, because he was obviously inspired by Michael Jackson and Prince, you wouldn't think no one would say anything. You would think that, because you saw Elvis, Pat Boone, Jerry Lee Lewis, I can name them. Roy Orbison, I can go on. George Michael said something of the forbidden. Of course, they whiteballed him in the industry and didn't want him. And then they held off his Listen Without Prejudice Part 2 record and they slowly rolled him out. Tommy Mottola said a lot of disparaging remarks about him. And he spoke out about it. Before Michael Jackson talked about it, because Michael went through it, obviously the Invincible, but he owned stuff in Sony, so that was a big thing. Because you never had an artist who owned as much totality, and they was out to try to take him out. They didn't want him having nothing. Prince had Slave on his face. He spoke about the industry, and you know about all that. And Rick James spoke out about the industry, and people spoke out. But George Michael, it was like a wow. White male artists from Britain speaking out about the music industry and their politics. And it was him speaking out was huge. Because I remember like yesterday when Listen Without Prejudice, when Praying for Time and all that came out. And I liked the record. Cowboys and Angels was a great song. He wrote, that man could flat out write, could sing. Last Christmas is still played to this day. One of the greatest holiday anthem songs. And then we get, obviously Careless Whisper, which bought him a hood pass, bought him at the cookout, however you want to call it. That was a song that, took him to another level. He always had songs respected, his artistry, his musicability, his live showmanship, And that's the thing. He spoke out on the politics of the industry, which got me thinking, where are the rappers, where are the people speaking out now? Because it isn't even the half of the same industry it was then. It's all this streams and all this fakery that goes on. So just think about what happened to the George Michaels of today that not only want their music to be played, but also would speak out about